I had no idea the British press was so bigoted.
This one's wife. Notorious, known, but disliked. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Another problem for this one's wife. And also, the reporting of this is interesting. Jack Royston, writing in Newsweek, ordinarily a Sussex supporter and somebody who has pumped out pro-Sussex puff pieces in the past, is highlighting the fact in an article that this one's wife is 17th most popular royal as support dwindles. Let's examine further the continued downward spiral which I predicted many, many moons ago, what this means for the narcissist, and also what can we deduce from Newsweek reporting on this. Mr. Royston writes, this one's wife's UK popularity has slumped so low she is behind rarely reported Royal Princess Alexandra, known only to 56% of the country. The Duchess of Sussex was once the royal family's megastar. During the months before and after her May 2018 wedding to Prince Harry. However, Harry and this one's wife quit the palace in 2020 following the disintegration of relations with the prince's family and in the midst of a storm of media hostility. Their standing in Britain then fell steadily, turbocharged by their Oprah Winfrey interview in 2021 and Harry's tell-all book in 2023. The latest quarterly data compiled by polling agency YouGov shows the Duchess is now 17th on the list of the most popular royal family members based on the size of her fan base. This one's wife was liked by 23% of Brits, I'm surprised it's even that high, and known to 99%. Putting her one place behind Princess Alexandra, who was liked by 25% and known to 56%. Prince Harry was one place above Alexandra on 27%, while both were behind his cousins, Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie, the daughters of Prince Andrew, who were both on 36%. Queen Elizabeth II topped the list 2 years after her death and was liked by 77%, while Princess Kate, well, actually she's not called that, it's Catherine, Princess of Wales, came second, with 73% approving of her. Thus, what do we gain from this so far? First of all, it will infuriate this one's wife that a woman that she sought to smear remains top of the list 2 years after she died. Imagine that. Despite your best efforts to tell the world that you're this kind fashion icon, that you are this philanthropic bananitarian, a brilliant content creator and friend to all, that you are way, way outgunned by a dead monarch. But it gets worse for this one's wife. A shriek of indignant fury erupts from the mouth of the Duchess of Industrial Beige as she learns that once again, Catherine is many percentage points ahead of her. The nemesis is beating her hands down in the popularity stakes. This one's wife will not be able to compute this. How can it be? How can it be, Harry? Come out from that chicken coop. How can it be that a dead monarch and that spindly woman are more popular than I am? What is wrong with those Brits? Oh. Except Harry's not there to answer any longer. He seems to have moved away. The point is, this one's wife will not react favourably to this news, and she will know about it, because this is the type of thing that she keeps an eye on, because popularity is important to her. Now, the good news for her is that she is known by 99% of the nation. So on the one hand, that will please her, but the problem is, it's not good enough to be known. For her, she must be loved. And rather than be well-known and popular, which is what she wants, which means that all of those people are under control and they're providing her with huge amounts of positive fuel, the problem for her is that she is notorious. She's well-known, but disliked. That there are plenty of people who do not like her, to the extent that she finds herself behind Princess Alexandra, who is not known to a number of individuals. So not only does she find herself notorious, she finds herself unpopular, and she finds herself ranking behind somebody who many Brits don't even know about. It's all problematic, and all of this amounts to a threat to her control. The article continues by explaining this one's wife and Harry have long been controversial figures in Britain and were the subject of critical stories in the British press, even when they were working royals and liked by a majority of the country, i.e. maintaining the narrative of it's the media that hates us. In recent years, their support base in Britain has become smaller and smaller, with Newsweek previously reporting on single-digit percentages of the country willing to say they viewed this one's wife very favourably across the political divide. Lady Louise Windsor, daughter of Prince Edward and Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, also had more support on 39%, as did the Duke and Duchess of Kent on 41% and 39% respectively. YouGov orders its quarterly data based purely on how many people like a public figure, rather than a net approval rating, which also factors in how many people dislike them. This means this one's wife had support from fewer Brits than those above her in the list, but she was also more disliked than a number of the royals below her. For example, Lady Marguerite Armstrong-Jones, a grandniece of Queen Elizabeth II, had support from 20% of Brits, lower than this one's wife. However, she was known to only 46% of the country and disliked by just 6%. By contrast, this one's wife was disliked by 57%. The majority dislike her. A similar trend can be seen in relation to the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester, who have less support than this one's wife, but also few critics among a population that largely does not follow them. Only Prince Andrew had fewer supporters on 14% and more critics at 62% in the YouGov data. Once again, for this one's wife, there is no comfort to be gained in the fact that Prince Andrew is the only person beneath her, whereas one might argue that perhaps at one point it was the other way around. This is problematic for this one's wife to demonstrate just how disliked she is. Of course, narcissism will ride to the rescue and tell her that it is as a consequence of the media hate campaign against her, that people have a skewed perspective of her as a consequence of the poison that they have been fed by the media that hates her, that she will dismiss these individuals as racist and haters, as she always does, and this is driven by her narcissism for the purposes of ensuring that this threat to control is nullified. Biscuits and Jam writes in the comments section, I'm not sure how this one's wife is even considered royal at this point, so she's at a distinct disadvantage in this poll. She has no relevance in the United Kingdom, so why would she be popular? The Duchess title has no meaning in the United States and is only becoming more insignificant as time passes. 2024 was a bad year for this one's wife and Harry. 2025 should pretty much complete their slip into obscurity. Ellen Francis writes, so Princess Catherine is second only to the late Queen, and this one's wife is second from the bottom, and it's not just in the UK. TRK writes, honestly, I'm not surprised by the results that Jack reported on. YouGov and Ipso Mori polling over the last 4.5 years has shown a steady decline for Harry, this one's wife, and of course Andrew, who is at the bottom. Even the late QE2's Gloucester and Kent cousins are more popular, even though fewer members of the public know who they are. Annette writes, right before Her Majesty the late Queen passed, who remembers Dictator Meme's threat during her interview with The Cut, that she had a lot to say until she didn't? Do you like that? Seems the Brits haven't forgotten her disgracefully mocking a curtsy either so soon after Her Majesty the late Queen has passed, and all the ways the Sussex grifters made the final years of both Prince Philip and the Queen shellish. They probably still haven't forgotten how rude the Sussex grifters were throughout the Jubilee weekend either. violating the procession order into the cathedral so they could have their moment, even though it backfired spectacularly when they had to climb over their York sisters and the spouses. Then not participating in anything to which they were invited, seemingly because they would never have had a prominent role. And then to top it off, releasing to the media that they were hightailing it out of the UK during the concert on the Russian oligarch type of jet. It is a simple concept that the Sussex grifters truly need to learn. Actions have consequences. Matt Foley responds, "This is exactly why we dislike this one's wife, for the things she has said and done, not the colour of her skin. Pushing that narrative only makes things work. Stop gaslighting us and insulting us and fix your own bad behaviours, this one's wife. This one's wife just does not learn. She called herself the most bullied person on the planet, while 12 people came forward to the Hollywood Reporter regarding her bullying in September. She is a walking PR disaster." And of course, whilst it's understandable that people call on her to fix her behaviour, that will never happen, because she doesn't see that she has done anything wrong. She lacks insight. Her narcissism doesn't let her see. Thus, the comments are agreeing with why she is so unpopular. Why might it be that Newsweek would report in such terms, highlighting her lack of popularity, indeed doubling down on it by mentioning her unpopularity also? Might it be that Newsweek sees the way that the wind is blowing and is starting to distance itself from them? Quite possibly. Once again, recognising that actually this one's wife is an abject loser and not wanting to be as associated with her, realising actually perhaps people might have been right about her. It may well be that Newsweek has decided that they're not going to provide support to a sinking ship and instead highlight the fact that this one's wife is on the downward spiral. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.